a battle that shook the very foundations of the world, Atlas, the unbreakable titan who carries the heavens, faces off against Poseidon, the god who commands the raging seas. One wields raw, unyielding strength, capable of shattering mountains. The other controls the oceans and earthquakes, bending the elements to his will. As they collide, the earth trembles, the sea roars, and the skies split apart in chaos. Will the mighty Titan finally break free from his curse and challenge the gods? Or will the Lord of the Seas drag him into the abyss, never to rise again? This is not just a fight. It is a war of legends, a battle of divine endurance and elemental fury. Stay tuned for the epic showdown between Atlas and Poseidon, a battle that will echo through eternity. Who do you think will emerge victorious? Let's find out. The sky churned with ominous clouds, a furious storm gathering over the churning Aegean Sea. The heavens crackled with Zeus lightning, illuminating the vast battleground where two of the mightiest beings of old would soon clash. On one side stood Poseidon, the earth-shaker, his powerful frame wrapped in the swirling winds of the ocean. His sea-green eyes burned with fury, and his grip tightened around his legendary trident, a weapon forged by the Cyclopes themselves. The god of the sea had ruled the vast waters for eons, yet now he had been summoned to battle. On the other side stood Atlas, the titan of endurance, the one who bore the weight of the heavens upon his shoulders. His colossal form loomed over the rocky cliffs, muscles carved from centuries of suffering and strength. His bronze skin gleamed under the faint sunlight breaking through the storm clouds. Once a warrior in the great Titanomachy, Atlas had been condemned to hold up the sky for eternity. But today he would fight. For the first time in an age, the chains of destiny had been loosened. The conflict had been set in motion when Atlas, in his eternal suffering, had grown resentful of the Olympians. He had watched them rule the cosmos, while he remained bound in torment. With every passing century, bitterness seeped deeper into his soul. The moment came when Gaia, the primordial mother of the earth, whispered to him through the winds. She told him of a prophecy, that the Olympians were growing weaker, and if there were ever time to strike back, it was now. And so, Atlas descended from his mountain prison, his mighty shoulders breaking the curse for the first time in millennia. The sky trembled as the heavens shifted, the very cosmos gasping at his return. His first act of defiance was to march upon the seas, for he knew that to challenge Olympus, he would need to first break Poseidon, the god whose dominion over the oceans granted him one of the strongest pillars of power in the world. Poseidon, sensing the disruption in the balance of nature, had risen from his kingdom deep within the trenches of the ocean. He emerged upon the surface in a towering wave, his rage like the fury of a tempest. The earth-shaker would not let a titan rise again. The battle was inevitable. The chosen arena was a forsaken coastline where the land met the sea, a place where both warriors could unleash their might without restraint. Atlas stood upon the jagged cliffs, his form casting a shadow across the land, his hands clenched into fists that could crush mountains, his gaze locked upon the approaching storm. Below, the sea roared, the waters boiling and rising as Poseidon summoned his power. A deafening silence hung in the air before the clash. The wind howled as Poseidon emerged from the swirling vortex of water, his trident glowing with divine energy. The ocean god's cloak of sea foam billowed around him, his hair wild like the raging tides. Then, without a word, the battle began. Atlas was the first to move. With a single colossal step, he shattered the cliffs beneath him, leaping into the air with titanic force. He swung his fist downward, aiming to crush Poseidon where he stood. The very air trembled at the sheer weight of his attack. Poseidon, however, was swift. With a flick of his trident, a massive wave erupted from the ocean, crashing against Atlas mid-air. The Titan was momentarily engulfed in the furious waters, his massive frame swallowed by the sea's embrace. For a moment, the waters stilled. Then, with an earth-shattering roar, Atlas tore through the ocean's grasp, his muscles straining against the force of the tide. Water cascaded off his body as he emerged, eyes blazing. Poseidon wasted no time. With a mighty thrust of his trident, He called forth a storm, the skies darkening as bolts of lightning struck the sea. The waves surged into a colossal whirlpool, seeking to drag Atlas beneath the depths. Atlas braced himself, his feet sinking into the earth. With sheer brute force, he pushed against the waters, the ocean trembling at his defiance. His muscles bulged as he lifted a massive slab of rock from the seabed, hurling it toward Poseidon with terrifying power. The Olympian god raised his trident, splitting the rock in two before it could reach him. But Atlas was relentless. He charged forward, his fists shattering waves, his roars shaking the heavens. Each strike from Atlas was like a falling mountain, each step like an earthquake. The land itself seemed to tremble under his wrath. Poseidon, agile and tactical, knew he could not match Atlas in pure physical power. Instead, he used the sea as his weapon, constantly shifting and reshaping the battlefield. With a wave of his trident, he summoned sea serpents, their scaled bodies rising from the depths. They coiled around Atlas, their fangs sinking into his flesh, attempting to drag him into the abyss. Atlas roared in fury. With sheer force, he ripped the serpents apart, tossing their remains into the churning waters. Blood mixed with the sea foam as the battle raged on. Realizing that brute strength alone would not subdue Atlas, Poseidon turned to his greatest power, his mastery over earthquakes. He slammed his trident into the ground, and the earth split open. A massive chasm erupted beneath Atlas, the land collapsing beneath his feet. The Titan staggered, momentarily caught off guard. Taking advantage, Poseidon unleashed a tidal wave the size of Olympus itself, crashing down upon Atlas with the weight of an entire ocean. For the first time, Atlas faltered. The relentless force of the water forced him to one knee, the sea attempting to reclaim him. But Atlas was not finished. Summoning the last reserves of his strength, Atlas dug his hands into the earth itself. With a deafening roar, he lifted an entire mountain from the depths, hurling it at Poseidon with godlike fury. Poseidon, in the blink of an eye, summoned a maelstrom, shattering the mountain into countless fragments. Yet, in that moment of distraction, Atlas charged. His fist collided with Poseidon's chest, sending the sea god hurtling backward, crashing into the very ocean he ruled. The waves split apart from the impact, revealing the god's battered form beneath the sea's surface. For a moment, silence. The storm stilled. The battle had reached its climax. As the waters settled, Poseidon rose once more. He was wounded, but unbeaten. Atlas, though exhausted, stood firm. Yet, they both knew the truth. This battle had no victor. Poseidon could not kill Atlas, for the Titan's endurance was unmatched. And Atlas could not conquer Poseidon, for the god was immortal and forever bound to the sea. Their battle had shaken the world, but as the tides receded and the storm passed, they each reluctantly withdrew, knowing that their war was not yet over. As Poseidon rose from the depths, his wounds evident but his resolve unbroken, he met Atlas' unwavering gaze. The Titan, though battered and drenched in the remnants of the sea's fury, stood tall, his breath heavy but defiant. The battle had raged beyond the limits of gods and titans alike, reshaping the land and sea with their wrath. Yet, despite their unparalleled strength, neither could claim victory. Poseidon, bound to the immortality of Olympus, could not fall, while Atlas, forged by suffering and endurance, refused to break. With the realization that their struggle was an endless cycle, Poseidon lifted his trident, commanding the waters to recede. This battle has no end. His voice rumbled like distant thunder. Atlas, though unwilling to concede, knew the truth in those words. With a final glare, he turned, retreating toward the mountains where he once bore the heavens, knowing that his war against the Olympians was far from over. As the storm faded and the waves calmed, their battle remained not as a triumph of one over the other, but as a testament to the eternal war between titans and gods, one that would echo through legend for eternity.